Hi golfers, Nick here from GOLFTEC Singapore. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, we're going to talk about what is stack and tilt. I've got the stack and tilt book here, but also in today's video, we're going to talk about what it's not. And I've seen various videos, some good, some not so good, just talking a little bit about stack and tilt. So if you guys have got the book, you shift right to the beginning there. There's a page here called What is Stack and Tilt. So on this side there's a picture of Andy demonstrating what not to do, sort of shifting off the ball, which leads to inconsistent contact. And then we've got some various different golfers on this side with varying different degrees of tilt and extension in the backswing. Just before we get into this video, I'm just going to read a couple of sentences from the book just on that page, just give you guys a little bit of an idea if you're not too sure on what stack and tilt is. Just before we start, I'm just going to read this paragraph at the top here, what is stack and tilt. So put simply, the stack and tilt swing is a mechanically simpler way to hit the golf ball. The traditional golf swing features a big shift away from the target on the backswing, with the upper body moving behind the ball and a corresponding shift towards a target on the downswing. So what you're talking about there is the upper center or the head shifting away in the backswing away from the target, and then the big shift forward, which makes it very difficult to predict sort of the low point of the swing, which is one of the most important fundamentals of playing good golf. The problem with these moves is that as you shift back and through, you must find the ball somewhere in the middle. If you don't time the shifts perfectly, you won't make solid contact, which is the first requirement to becoming a proficient golfer. So for today's video, I'm going to hit a couple of shots. Now, the first one will be demonstrating my standard procedure of staying very centered in the golf swing, which is what we sort of prescribe in the stack and tilt swing. We don't want golfers to shift either way. We don't want them to shift away from the target or towards the target. Now, this is one of the biggest misinterpretations I see from golf instructors and golfers out there, is when they're trying to adopt the stack and tilt golf swing, they sort of over exaggerate the move in the backswing. So traditionally the golf swing's been taught to have a slight sway away in the backswing and then towards the target, which we know makes it very hard to make consistent contact, especially hit the ball first in the ground. So for these two shots, I've got the motion sensors on here that we use at GOLFTEC just to measure the swing. So the first one will be sort of my standard procedure where I stand quite centered in the swing. So pretty good shot there. Pretty straight, just right of the line, pretty good contact. Let's take a look at the data. So the little draw there, in terms of the numbers that we got, 4.6 degrees into out and 2.7 degrees downwards. Pretty standard shot for me. So the second shot I'm going to do here is sort of what I see a lot of golfers interpret stack and tilt to be, which is sort of they're leaning onto the left side, which feels very awkward to me. So we're going to look at the motion numbers afterwards, but let's try and hit the shot. So see what the difference is. Okay, so I exaggerated that a little bit, lost a bit of balance there, but it felt very steep. The contact felt very high on the face, felt like I was really leaning into it. It didn't feel balanced at all. In the golf swing, it's important we stay very centered, and I've exaggerated that. It was still an okay shot, but yeah, the angle tech went out to 6.7 degrees downward, 7 degrees path, and the contact was a lot higher on the face. So let's sit down now and take a look at the motion numbers between those two golf swings. So you saw the two shots there on the screen. We're going to take a look at them on the video. So on the left hand side, this is sort of my standard procedure where I hit around sort of 3 degrees downwards. So if we look at the one on the right, this was the exaggerated move, and you can already see as I start to take this club back how I've started to move my head towards the target, and it shows in these sensor numbers. So the sensor on the back of the shoulder there is showing us how much your sway moves away or towards the target. Now the tour players would give us a green number at this stage. So you can see on the left, the tour player average around 2.5 inches towards would be pretty good. 5 inches is too much, and that's represented again by how much that head has moved. Now we want that head to stay pretty much in that circle. So as we get up to position 3 here, you can see how that head stays very centered on the left, 4.6 inches towards compared to 9. And then as we get to position 4 at the top of the backswing, 4.7 inches towards in my standard swing, which is around the tour average, and 9.3 towards on the right hand side there where I try to exaggerate that move. So this is what I see a lot of golfers misinterpreting the stack and tilt swing, is by over-exaggerating this move in the backswing, and I think that's come from how the stack and tilt system has evolved. It's teaching golfers to stay very centered in their swing, and if you go back a few years, a lot of golfers were taught to shift to the right and then to the left, which, as we know, makes it very difficult to control the low point in the swing. So staying very centered, that gives us a green number which is around the tour average, and that's what we're trying to do in the stack and tilt system. As we start down, as we get to left arm parallel, 5.2 inches towards, again, green number compared to the blue number on the right, 9.6 inches towards. So as we get down in further, 3.4 inches towards compared to 9.3 at shaft parallel P6. And then by the time we get to impact here, you can see on the left hand side my head has stayed very centered the whole way through the backswing and down to impact. So at impact here, my shoulder space sense is 0.2 inches towards compared to 7 inches towards on the right hand side. So this particular shot on the right produced a 7-degree angle attack downwards, this one on the left around 3 degrees downward. Ideally we're looking for somewhere around 3 or 4 degrees downwards with an iron shot. As soon as I moved that center too far forward, that did help to some degree moving the low point forward, but it can do it too much. That would have produced a steeper divot, and off this mat here I could feel the contact come off higher on the face, so that wasn't great. It's going to be very difficult to have consistent golf shots when you're hitting downwards too much. So when you're videoing your golf swing, if you're trying to work on your sway, it's very important that head stays centered. Now, sometimes with golfers I will give them the feel of moving towards a target, but ultimately that's not how we swing. In the stack and tilt system and how we measure the golf swing here at GOLFTEC, we want that head to stay very much in the circle. That will give you a center turn and potentially more control over the low point of the swing. So golfers, I hope that sort of clears up some misconceptions here about stack and tilt. I think the best golfers are stay centered. That's what we're trying to do in the stack and tilt swing. That's what we're trying to do when we teach here at GOLFTEC, is stay very centered with the head. That's giving you the best chance of making consistent contact. So golfers, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't already, please follow me on my other social media platforms, and we'll see you again soon for another video on golf tips.